I lived in a rented apartment in Seattle. For years, I had saved every penny with one dream: to finally own my own place. One night, while scrolling through a rental app, an ad caught my eye. It was an incredible deal, almost too good to be true. There were no photos, just a description of a classic uptown unit. The real nightmare began 15 days after I moved in. It was a Thursday. I came home exhausted from work and crashed onto my bed. I drifted into a deep sleep, only to be jolted awake by the sound of running water. It was coming from the hallway bathroom. Through the sound of the splashing water, I heard it. A faint, feminine voice humming a melody. It was muffled, rhythmic, and chilling. I hammered on the bathroom door, but it wouldn't budge, as if someone was holding it shut from the inside. I retreated to my bed, my heart hammering against my ribs. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died. In the pale moonlight filtering through the window, I looked up. There, dangling from the ceiling fan directly above me, was a dark, limp shape. What happened next? Let me tell you the whole story. Having just finished university, I moved to Seattle for a new corporate job. To me, the city of neon lights and constant rain felt alien. I had visited before, but living here was different. For a month, I balanced my new job with a desperate search for an affordable apartment, crashing on my friend Mark's couch in the meantime. Finding a place as a single guy in the city felt like a losing battle. But one night, I found an ad for a unit in the Queen Anne district. The rent was suspiciously low, and there were no pictures. I messaged the landlord, who told me, "Come see it for yourself. If you like it, we'll talk price." The next day, Mark and I visited the building. From the outside, it looked like any other modern complex, sleek and polished. But when we told the security guard we were there to see the third floor unit, the man gave us a strange, lingering look. He didn't say a word, just buzzed us in. The apartment was perfect. 2 units per floor, spacious and clean. I signed the papers on the spot. For the first 2 weeks, life was routine. I would come home late, grab takeout, and sleep. But I couldn't shake the feeling that every time I passed the security guard, the man was watching me with a look of pity, as if he wanted to warn me about something. Then came the 15th night. I woke up to the sound of a faucet running. I walked toward the hallway bathroom, hearing that eerie humming voice again. I was never the bravest guy, and being alone in a large, silent apartment made every shadow feel heavy. I pushed against the bathroom door. The humming stopped instantly, but the water kept running. I shoved the door harder, and it finally swung open. The bathroom was empty. The tap was wide open, water gushing into the sink. I turned it off, convinced I'd just forgotten to close it. But as soon as I stepped out and closed the door, I heard the click of the handle. The water started running again. Terrified, I sprinted back to my bed and pulled the covers over my head. I eventually fell into a fitful sleep, only to be woken at midnight by the sound of metallic clicking, like the sound of a woman's footsteps. The sound moved from the dining area toward my bedroom door, then vanished. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The room was silent, but in the far corner, there was a patch of darkness so thick that my phone light couldn't pierce it. My throat went dry. I reached for the glass of water on my nightstand. In the dim glow of my screen, I saw the liquid inside wasn't clear. It was a deep, visceral red, like blood. I dropped the glass and scrambled to turn on the main lights. The room instantly returned to normal. I'm just stressed, I told myself. I need a shower. I went back to the bathroom. I stood before the mirror, trying to calm my breathing. For a split second, I saw it in the reflection. A figure with long, matted black hair standing right behind my shoulder. Two eyes peered through the hair with an intensity that froze my blood. I spun around. Nothing. I turned on the basin tap to splash my face with water. Instead of water, fresh, warm blood poured over my hands. The light bulb overhead flickered violently and shattered, plunging me into total darkness. I bolted from the bathroom. I tried the kitchen lights. Nothing. The power was out. I found a lighter and struck it. In the dancing orange flame, I saw a shape wrapped in a white shroud lying face down on my bed. As I took a step forward, the figure sat up with unnatural speed and vanished into the shadows. I jumped onto the bed, my lighter blowing out. I ripped open the curtains, letting in the dim orange glow of the street lights. Silence. Then, suddenly, something grabbed my ankles and yanked me off the bed. I hit the floor hard. In the shadows under the bed, I saw something moving. I let out a scream, scrambled to my feet, and ran out the front door. I sat on the stairwell until the sun came up and the first sounds of the morning commute filled the air. The next day, everything seemed normal again. The lights worked. The water was clear. I went to Mark's place and told him everything. Mark was skeptical. You're overworked, man. The city is getting to you. To prove it, Mark and two other friends stayed over that night. We played cards, ordered pizza, and nothing happened. Mark told me, see, it's all in your head. But if you're still scared, get a roommate next month. I wanted to believe him. For a few days, things were quiet. But then, the little things started. I'd leave my clothes on the bed. I'd come home to find them scattered on the floor. My keys would vanish, only to reappear in the middle of the dining table hours later. I decided I was done. I'd lose my deposit, but I was moving out. On my final week, I came home with some takeout. The bathroom tap was running again. I sighed, turned it off, and went to take a shower. As the water hit me, I heard a whisper right against my ear, a cold, raspy breath. I finished my meal quickly, keeping the lights on. I drifted off to sleep, but was woken by a smell, the unmistakable, gagging stench of rotten meat. The power was out again. I reached for my phone, but it was gone. I pulled back the curtain to let in the street lights. I shouldn't have looked up. Hanging from the ceiling fan was the body of a woman. Her face was hidden by long, tangled hair, but through the strands, I saw two eyes glowing like embers. I couldn't move. It felt like a spell had been cast over me. Then, I felt something wet and warm hit my chest. Blood was dripping from the hanging figure's feet. Before I could even scream, the rope snapped. The body fell directly onto me. The weight was cold and heavy. The girl's head landed right on my chest. I let out a primal scream, "Oh my God," and shoved the corpse off me with every ounce of strength I had left. I didn't look back. I ran out the door, down the stairs, and hammered on the security guard's door until I collapsed. I woke up in a hospital bed 2 days later. Mark was there. He told me that he'd been calling me all night, but the phone was dead. The guard and the landlord had found me unconscious on the floor and called an ambulance. Later, the security guard finally told me the truth. A few months before I moved in, a young woman had rented that unit. She was quiet, but neighbors said she acted strange, as if she were haunted. After a bad breakup, and rumors of her being involved in dark rituals, she had ended her life by hanging herself from that very ceiling fan. Her body wasn't found for days. The landlord had cleaned the place and tried to hide the history to keep the rent coming in. But every tenant since then had fled within weeks. The guard whispered that when someone dies like that, especially involving black magic, their spirit becomes territorial and restless. I moved out that same day. The landlord, terrified of a lawsuit, returned my full deposit. I live in a new place now, far from that building. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I feel a presence. I'll close my eyes, and for a split second, I'll see that figure dangling above my face, her lips moving as if she's trying to tell me a secret before she vanishes back into the dark.